Hello, welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Standard Open in Orlando, sponsored by Ultimate Guard. I'm Nick Miller alongside Danny Jessup. How you doing?
Good so far today.
One of the metagame gurus here in the Sideboard. We talked to Jim last week.
Yeah.
And you and your brother played Green-White Tokens in Atlanta.
Yep.
He's still on Tokens, but you've switched to something different. We're on a 4-color Rites build, but you got a little bit of spice going on in your build.
Yeah, it's a little different than the 4-color Rites deck that debuted at Grand Prix Toronto. We're not playing the Brood Monitor Dual-Port Cutthroat combo. Instead, we've got a package of 2 Nahiris, which I think is just a very powerful card. It's removal, it's filtering, so when you draw extra Crypto Threads, extra Loam Dryads, you can kind of just pitch those in the mid-game. And your ultimate, you just want to go find Dragonlord Atarka, put it into play, kill something, attack them for 8, bounce it back, and at that point, you can recast it with all the mana you have from your Crypto Threads.
So instead of going through all the hoops involving Cutthroat and all the different ways you can use it to bleed them out, you're just looking to cast Dragonlord Atarka.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Nahiri's here to just kind of tie things together.
Yeah, exactly. Brood Monitor is not a good card. I don't like playing 6 mana 3/3s that make a couple Scions on their own. Whereas Atarka, if you draw it, you're actually very happy to draw it. I was kind of looking for room for a second, but I wanted 25 hits for company, so it stayed where it was.
All right, so there's a bunch of these like Crypto with Rites builds out there. What about this build appeals to you?
The biggest thing is definitely this weekend why I didn't play Green-White was I wanted to beat Green-White, and Eldrazi Displacer is probably the best card in the format versus Green-White if they don't answer it, which they kind of struggle to do. And this deck just generates mana way better than any other deck in the format, and it's just a very powerful deck when it's going and uninterrupted. Get bad matchups of the control decks, which I'm hoping Green-White kind of pushes away.
Mm-hmm. Right, we've seen a lot of people try to attack the format with Eldrazi Displacer, just having so much power with everything else. You get to use some Dragon Lords and things like that. Seems like you can close out a game pretty fast.
Yeah, displacing Dragonlord Atarka is a lot of fun.
And, you know, it's interesting because you bring up Nahiri is the reason here. You know, where do you have the white splash and the blue splash and all these splashes going around? Mm-hmm. But having Nahiri here to just get rid of all these cards in the late game, like you mentioned, you know, Loam Dryad and things like that just aren't the most appealing cards to draw in the late game.
Loam Dryad after turn 2, Cryptolith Right number 2, 3, 4. Don't need more than one of them, but all you definitely play 4 because you always want to draw one.
So you're just looking to get out, beat down with the Dragon Lord, and just kind of do it that way. No combo whatsoever.
Nope, no combos, just value them out. Eventually you either set up Displacer, Reflector Mage, bounce their board, and attack them with a bunch of 1/1s and 2/2s for a while. The other big changes to the deck that most of the 4-color Rites players play is either Catacomb Sifter in the black version or the other version, which blue had Sky Spawner. Mm-hmm. I hedged a little bit. I wanted Mana Reshaper as the other 3-drop because it actually gives you a fighting chance versus control decks. It is such a powerful card versus them. Just replacing itself off the top when they have to languish you. If you have 2 of them in play, languish in most cases actually isn't even very good then.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the decks have opted for the Sky Spawner, but this card very interesting. We see it popping up from here and there, but just, you know, you said this deck's already well positioned against things like tokens and the like. You want to have more action against your bad matchups.
Exactly. It also perfectly leads into the sideboard plan of you'd want to board out Sky Spawner in the case I'm playing blue in this weekend, in that control matchup where now you get Mana Reshapers and you get to board in Advocates and Reality Smashers to then board out your Loam Dryads and Cryptolith Rites against the control decks, and it's basically like a good extension of your sideboard. It's kind of like it makes sure that your 75 works together.
Right, because we've seen the plan of trying to go beat down before, but Advocate and the Smasher are just kind of the best rates.
Yeah, Smasher's the best card versus any control deck. If they don't transgress it, it's always a 2-for-1 against Black-White. Grixis really can't even kill it, and Black-White's only answer is Anguish Unmaking if they have it for the most part. So
you're kind of on this own. You're on a beatdown A plan and a beatdown B plan, depending on how and what you're playing against.
Yeah.
Another 4, you got Dromoka's Command. Where's this coming in?
That is the best card that we found removal-wise for the Cryptolith Right Mirrors. We were close between that and Declaration Stone to make sure you can kill Displacer, but if you can kill their Cryptolith Rights, it's a huge advantage. And you're also boarding it in against any deck that has Kozilek's Return as a way to just insulate that a little bit. So it's pretty good there as well.
Okay. And did you see a lot of the Rites decks in testing? Because a lot of people, you know, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, green white token's just been beating everything, and everyone's saying, "Oh, just play the Rites decks."
Yeah.
But we still aren't seeing a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm playing the deck leading into the week. I played against it a little bit, and it's also why I was kind of happy to play this build. Is I think this build is probably the best build in the mirror because Nahiri kills Cryptolith right game one, which is important, and Dragonlord Atarka is, outside of them setting up their 3-card combo, if you just draw an Atarka, you're just going to win the game. It's going to kill their guys. There's very little removal, so if you can set that with Displacer, they'll just never have a permanent play. That's not a land.
Well, the deck looks very interesting. You know, we've seen the strategy before, but bringing Nahiri into it, we've seen the power of this card.
Yep.
You know, Modern Legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hasn't quite found a home in Standard, but being able to just tutor up a Dragonlord seems very good.
Yeah, and even if you draw the one Dragonlord, honestly, casting it is fine, and tutoring up a Reflector Mage, or even better, normally you tutor up a Displacer or Nissa Vastwood Seer. Nissa Vastwood Seer gives you late game power, or if you have something good in play for the Displacer already, it's a free Displacer, which gives you all your mana, so.
All right. Well, the deck looks great. You're off to a pretty strong start. Your team's on a bunch of different decks. You're all kind of trying to beat something in the metagame. So.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Thanks
Either
for joining
beat
me.
them or join them. So.
Thanks for joining me here in the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Orlando.